Thank you. Thank you. Well,
That's that. Hi, my name is Ed Kamal. I'm the Vice Chair of the Communications Committee. I'm here to talk to you about a project that we've been working on for about a year or so now. It's what we're calling an enhanced town meeting packet. And this involved, do you need me to keep going, Luke? Sorry. This evolved out of attending several town meetings, and a lot of information is given at the town meeting. You know, you get the warrant in advance, go right there verbally, you get a lot of information. You get more information given to you there. So really, wanted to come up with a better way to do it. Chris Martin and I were sitting at the last town meeting, so I started talking about this. And so I started doing some research, and what you're looking at in front of you is an example of how Ware does it. They have what we call an enhanced town meeting packet, where there's a lot of information provided in one packet to the people that are attending the town meeting. And you can see it has the warrant article that's in there, in this case a motion, but also the warrant article. It has a layperson's explanation of what this article is about. It has how the various boards voted, and if there's a financial impact, they'll include that in there as well. And so it just seemed like a really good way to get information out to people in advance so they can make a good decision before coming to town meeting. So they don't have to look at this and try to digest it on the floor in the heat of the moment sort of thing. So I did some research on it. I talked to the folks over in Ware. They went to this about 3 or 4 years ago, and they love it. They said one of the side benefits of now having the more informed electors showing up is it really streamlines the town meeting operations. A lot of the questions are answered right here. So started talking to Steve about it, and Lisa Solberg. We've had a series of meetings on this. Everybody loves this idea. They think it's a really good idea. Now the devil's in the details of how do we pull this all together and how do we make this happen. So we're going around talking to various boards and committees that kind of have an integral role of information that's coming forward at the town meeting. Because the biggest thing is everything they're working here is done anyways, okay? It's not like we're creating new work. It's more like a new process that we're coming up with to try to get this information compiled and put out. So really what it comes down to is scheduling. When does Melissa Shattuck at the top at Steve's office need to have this information to start compiling it? Now, in terms of the warrant articles, that's kind of easy. That's the low-hanging fruit. We're required to publish them, I think it's 14 days or something like that, in advance. What Ware does is as soon as the select board approves the warrant articles, they publish them. So they meet that requirement. This is what takes a little bit longer, is putting this kind of information together. Now, also at the same time, it's a real learning experience for me in terms of how you all do your business. Not our school committee, finance committee, CPC, everybody that has to weigh in on these various articles. And I was talking to Brian Gibbons at finance the other day about this whole thing, and he loves the idea. I have members opposed to it. It's kind of a mom and apple pie thing. Sounds like a good idea, but can we make it happen? He loves the idea. He thinks it's a good idea. He says one of the real sticking points is going to be when Jill gets the information from the state in terms of what kind of money we're getting, and she can prepare the budget and start getting that out to everybody. I haven't had a chance to talk to Jill yet. She's been out for a little bit, but I'm going to try and talk to her this week. So again, learn how all this is done so we can make it happen. What I've kind of come up with so far, and I'm going to throw this out, you tell me if it works or not, is again, Melissa will need this information, let's say a week before, 2 weeks before a town meeting. So then she may need it a week before that to actually put it together so we can actually publish it to the public. That's where we have to come up with is that timeline that everybody has to have their information to Melissa so she can compile it and publish it and get it out. And that's where I don't understand how your process works. Okay, now when I was talking to Brian, he said, well, we kind of came up with, said, okay, just come up with a date that Melissa needs this information from everybody, then you all start working your schedule backwards from there. I don't know if that's too simplistic or not. From his point of view, it seemed to work for him. But there's other moving parts that have to come into play. And he was the one suggesting I talk to Jill and really get a good handle on how all this works. So I'm kind of throwing it out there to first, A, what do you think about it? Do you think it's a good idea? And then B, what can we do to make it work?
So I will tell the committee, we talked ahead of time, and I loved this idea. And as a chair, I was willing to work with him and figure this out. Our budget hearing tends to be earlier than the town's timeline, so I felt like we could handle getting it in whenever they wanted it in. But I will not be here forever, and so I wanted to get the input of the committee on what you think about this continuing.
So I think you just have to keep in mind, by law, we have to post 2 consecutive weeks for the budget hearing. So we work back from town meeting. So we have to do that. So usually it's like in April we do it. But just my understanding, it would only really be one warrant, one, whatever you call this, article.
Article relates to school, yep.
That would have approved by school committee 543, right?
Yep.
So it seems like from an administrative point of view, we could get it done. But we got to keep in mind about the 2 weeks, 2 consecutive weeks.
And I feel like though we're earlier than the rest of the town doing things.
We have been in our presentation, yes.
Yeah. So,
I mean, I think it's a great idea as well. But I share the concern that just to make sure that we have enough time to have because it's I know it's later on the agenda, but the budget calendar is our official budget vote on April 28th. So depending on, as long as like that date works with when the information needs to be disclosed.
Well, April 28th, just theoretically, because I'm trying to do it in my mind, let's say town meeting was the 15th. Let's just say that. Let's say we wanted this information out to the public 2 weeks beforehand. That'd be May 1. And then Melissa's going to need time to assemble all this and publish it. So a week, push another week, so 3 weeks. So it might be tight timing. And also the first year, there's going to be speed bumps. It's going to be speed bumps the first year until we really iron all this out. So that's what I really need to do, is identify all these dates that we're talking about that things happen. But conceptually, sound like a good idea to you folks?
oh yeah. I definitely like this very much.
Yeah, we feel that transparency is a big thing, an informed electorate showing up, and streamlining town meeting, which we all want to do. We all want to do.
Definitely.
Yeah,
Okay.
sure.
Perfect.
Okay, well, what I'll do, Heidi, is I'll keep you up to date on where I'm going with this.
Okay.
So I talk to more committees, and we get more feedback on it. And again, everything's been positive so far. And now that, like I said, the devil's in the details on it, so, okay?
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate you taking time to come here.
Yeah, and thanks for moving me up. I appreciate that, too.
No problem.
Okay, take care.
All right, I'm going to move back to my agenda, and I'm at the consent items. The printed agenda doesn't have it, the posted agenda does. It was discussion F, a Helping Hands field trip, and I'd like to pull that one off. So we'll start with that. Is there anything else anybody's looking to pull off? Right, is there a motion for the consent items?
Motion to approve the consent items.
Okay. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. All right, and now, number F.
Super. So we have representatives from Boat and Helping Hands here, if there are any questions. There's a couple of parts to this. The first part is within the field trip application, starting about, sorry, I was just there, page number 9 is the grant application that the school department submitted in collaboration with Boat and collaboration with Helping Hands to get funding from the opioid settlement task force to support sending these students and some of the Boat members to the national conference in February. This was included in our original ask for the next year 6 to 10 application, but we've talked about that hasn't come through from the federal government yet. So we weren't able to include it in the 1 year application we did earlier. So they had to go back to the opioid task force and ask for more. So the first thing that needs to happen is that the school committee will need to, I'm asking the school committee to accept $14,530 from the opioid settlement in order to then spend this money going on the field trip, which is step 2.
Sorry, I'm looking for the dollar amount.
13,530.
Okay, I make a motion to accept the $14,530 from the opioid settlement task force to support travel fair students. Advisors.
Second.
Okay,
Second.
is there any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 Passes unanimously.
All right. So then the field trip is in February. The CADCA, which I always forget what it stands for, National Convention, National Conference, is a big deal. It's in Washington, D.C. every year. I attended once virtually 6 years ago, and it was not great, but I have heard that the in-person one is phenomenal. I said I would go back as soon as BOAT found a way to bring students. They called my bluff, so I'm on this list, and here we are. The information includes an itinerary. The youth track is pretty involved every day that folks are there. They hadn't posted like what's available yet for February, but we found some stuff from the mid-year, the last time they did the youth one. So there's some information in there about what they're actually accomplishing, trying to accomplish, why it's a big deal, what we want our youth to be able to do. And then the only additional like field trip-esque paperwork is the only transportation company aside from commercial airlines will have Valley Transporter bring us to the airport to save people from having to get up early and drive the kids and drop them off and park and all that kind of stuff. So I included their information from there. And then the application or the piece for you all ends with some highlights of what our Helping Hand students and advisors have been up to recently.
Aileen, you been, right? Yeah. Do you want to say a little bit about, just come up to the microphone?
Helene, advisor of Helping Hands. So the CADCA conferences are pretty intense. So it's a Monday through Thursday. It's daily offerings of different seminars. You can choose which ones you go to. It's all related to substance use prevention, mental health, and some of it involves public speaking and leadership. So it's definitely worthwhile. Like I said, there are several to choose from, so it's a very intense day. You're kind of on overload and mush at the end of the day, so you're just taking in a lot. And plus the youth are going to end up meeting other people who do the same thing, and they're interested in the same types of causes. And then there's the Washington, D.C. Capitol Hill Day, so that's going to be on Wednesday, where they go and meet their legislator and talk about things that they care about and that they're working on. So, yeah, it's great. I always come away with a ton of new ideas, so.
And these are 3 of the students that will be attending.
Yes, we have Hayden, Raquel, and Paige. They're some of the long-timers for Helping Hands, and there are 2 more who are working tonight who we are going to bring, also Gianna and Gina. So,
Right.
yeah.
Did you guys want to say something to us? If you came here, or did you just want to be in support? No problem.
Have you guys been back to DC before?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it sounds like an amazing opportunity.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah.
Well, thank you for going.
And don't come back and tell you about it too.
Oh, good.
Oh, yeah. Any more questions or?
I want to know where Dr. Fortin is at all times.
You can do you check my location on Snapchat.
No, we use social media. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, so with that, I'm looking for a motion for this trip.
I make a motion to approve the Katka trip.
Okay,
Second.
okay, any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Passes unanimously. Have fun. I hope that you learn a lot.
Why don't you come?
No. Okay. We are at Cold Spring School closure.
So just an update, and I'll compile some of the highlights for you once I meet with Swift River. I met with Cold Springs staff. I met with Chestnut Hill staff, myself, Mr. Ruscio, and Ms. Champagne. Some of the questions regarding the transition for staff was scheduling. What is that going to look like? Are they going to be on the same time frame as Shavish when they move there? We told them that we're working on scheduling. We have a couple of options. They will be on the same time frame as Javish. They were asking about time to move and plan and stuff like that. The same information that came out of Cold Springs. They wanted to know if they were going to be in one section of the building, they're going to be spread out, or are they going to be teaching multiple grades? We assured them that as of right now, we're looking at in a wing, and then we're exploring options on the scheduling once we do the scheduling. The scheduling has had a couple of options. We're meeting at the beginning of the year to review those. They'll be ready hopefully by February. And I am going over to Swift River next week to look at rooms. We had a change of thought in all of this. But once I finish up with them, I'll put together a little presentation based on staff feedback. And then come the new year, I'll be meeting with parents in the evening. Cold Springs, Swift River, I'm going to do it by school, so we're not monopolizing time from each of the buildings. We're continuing to work with Eric on the moving aspect of things. We are working with building principals to finalize room assignments. As I mentioned to you, there is going to be a cost to this, which we talked about for teachers moving and doing all that. But we're moving along. Once I get up to Swift River, we'll have that section done, and then we'll be doing the community hearings, or listening sessions, I should say. But be assured, we are keeping the flow moving. I think there'll be a lot more to report coming the new year, beginning of the new year. I don't know if you have specifics.
Are you tracking how much it would cost for this reorganization?
Yeah, we have an estimate, and then we're going to have exact amount.
Right. Yeah, is there a moment where you feel like that will be safe to make public?
I think we're not there yet, but soon as we have everything down, I want to make it as public as can be. It's just hard right now because we can certainly go with, it's a moving target, right? We're going to say this person's gone, but if someone retires, I'm talking to Steve about something else. So I want to give as true numbers as I can. And then once we get closer to the moving, Jake, that will streamline some of the thing, but we'll definitely have an estimate for you. I think we estimated about 40,000 is moving costs, but that could change.
And it sounds like a greater solution to have teachers do it, as opposed to like a moving company.
Teachers are going to pack up their rooms.
Yeah.
And then the moving company is going to move the
Okay.
things. Yeah, they were working with the union about days, but if the classrooms aren't packed up, the custodians will pack it up and then move them. But we want to work with administrators.
Have the traffic patterns
we haven't even, nope, we haven't discussed that yet. I have to have some conversation with Steve, but I do want to say that it's probably going to be a little tight the first year. We have some suggestions that we're mulling over. But the best solution is if we could kind of create another road, or dirt road, per se. But we're working on that.
Any other questions? All right, thank you very much.
We own some land. I saw your brain thinking.
No, I was just thinking about it and probably wouldn't be popular, but like maybe a drop and walk.
Maybe.
So maybe another, if there's a place that's closer that, you know, we can have
Yeah.
staff, you know, walk the kids from there too, because it's middle school.
Right.
So,
And we own some property where maybe we could create a dirt road for staff per se, but I gotta talk to Steve about all that. I don't know how that works. And then we actually are looking at the possibility of hiring a traffic cop the first year just to keep things moving, to buy us some more time. But I would have to price all that out and kind of see what that is. And someone else made a suggestion. I don't really understand it yet, but I don't want to nix it because maybe it'll be a great solution. Something about off of Springfield Street, making that wider. That's all I can tell you because I don't really know. But if you have any feedback, suggestions, you see anything, let us know. That's about it.
All right, anything else? Anything else from you?
Nope.
All right, update on our conference.
Oh, I'm sorry. I just want to let you know, too, that I did communicate to Desi about it, and we got approved. Everything's in, they know about it, and I don't know really what approved means, but they said I'm in good status, don't do anything until they reach out again, but good to go. Sorry, Heidi.
It's okay. So update on our conference. So in the past, as a committee, there's been things we've learned that we wanted to share with each other. So this was an opportunity, if that was true, we could plan some time. I'm not saying share it right now. I'm saying we could plan a future meeting that you want to share it. Or is there any, tidbits you got out of it that you want to share with us now? Anything like that? Okay, I want to share with you that I try very hard to be an efficient chair. I'm pretty good. And one thing that I do really wrong is that when we have an action item, like somebody presents to us and we talk and blah, 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 and I even did it wrong with those guys. But after they present to us, we should have a motion and a second, and then we should be discussing it. And that feels organically wrong to me, but that is what I should be doing.
What would the motion be?
Whatever it's going to be. So like for the field trip, would have been the field trip, so the motion would be to approve the field trip in a second, and then you start the
yeah,
discussion.
like you would suggest hearing the motion and then the motion would be made, seconded, and
So then the motion could be amended, or it could fail and a new motion made, but we shouldn't be talking until a motion happens. So that's something I do poorly.
Well, wait, what about, only for an action item?
Yes,
So like
discussion is
having
discussion.
discussion, no, there's no motion. Okay, got it. That makes sense.
So I just thought I'd share that with you. I was like, oh, I might suck.
I had something to share. It's just a few things that I thought I heard an idea of a school committee member meeting regularly. I don't know what regular meeting could be once a quarter, whatever, with the student government. Which kind of like helps with us like knowing what's going on with the students. And then the other big thing was that Desi now has a rural representative.
The takeaways that I would share fit into the next business item, so I'll hold.
Okay. The other thing I found out, all of the subcommittee meeting stuff we have and the reports of school department liaisons, all of those things should have what we're going to be talking about. So I feel like that's going to be hard for us to plan.
Oh, the reports?
Yes.
Oh, because sometimes we report on the meeting that just came.
Yes, and, I mean, that has an agenda, so those items need to be on there.
Okay.
But, yeah, that.
Well, especially to do, right? You have a lot to work on. Well, apparently I do. All right, well, I'll just say the 2 sessions I went to that I thought were really interesting, I know we usually do like a future sharing, but
Yeah.
I did grab a bunch of slide printouts for everyone that I forgot to bring with me for the health insurance discussion. So that,
Do you want to do a future presentation?
yeah, I can do a future presentation on it. I can't promise that like some of it was very confusing, but I can certainly share. So there were 2 things that they shared. Like there was a presentation about the health insurance, but then there was also like a separate presentation with like the terminology and law related to bargaining health insurance. So
Okay.
I'll organize better, but it was a really good session. So I think it's worth and very relevant. So
Are you okay doing that at our next meeting? Do you want a little more time?
maybe a little more time.
Okay. 2 meetings?
you know.
Okay. All right.
I'll call you.
The health insurance reminded me of PARS, which was an early morning session on like Friday, and they talked about a free analysis they do for school districts. That seemed like something we might want to consider one day. What they do is they look at your staff, especially when you're consolidating or when they phrased it as top heavy, but when 50% or more are on a top step, and they look at essentially what would early retirement scenarios and other what do they call the kind of motivators.
You call this PARS, P-A-R-S?
Company that
Okay.
that performs this free analysis. And they'll basically help you figure out the timing of kind of when to shrink and when to not.
Okay.
Did you get the information?
Still waiting.
Okay, just when you do you mind shooting me a link?
Yeah.
It might even be in the app. I deleted the app and then I was like, no, I need stuff. And I put the app back.
I can go online too.
Okay. Anything else? Anything you saw that was great? Okay. All right. That's great. All right. So let's go to our budget timeline. Jake and/or Brian?
Yeah, why don't Jake start? This is just what it normally would be if we did business as usual. I'll try to make it quick. So,
I've learned to be patient. Just say.
So we went to a Division 5 meeting, and one of the things that I heard Hadley talk about was what they've been doing to kind of.
Oh, wait. Sean is telling me I'm wrong
You need a motion.
because it's an action item. So before we talk about it.
I don't,
What says action?
yeah, that was only if someone's presenting to you.
I mean, if, whatever it is, I'm supposed to have a
Are
motion
we
first.
taking action on a budget timeline?
Yeah. So I will make the motion that we approve the budget timeline.
But we don't know what it is.
I know, but it'll come out.
Yeah,
And
so
we'll-
I'll second it for now.
Okay. All in
Now we
favor?
can talk about it.
All in
No,
favor? Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. All right, go ahead. Keep going.
in a little bit.
Now that we can discuss, this feels very organic. So we went to a Division 5 meeting, which is our area of school committee members, and what they talked about was ways that they were working together with their select boards and their finance committees to kind of create more transparency, but kind of more opportunities for dialogue. One of the things, and add to this because you were there too. One of the things that they talked about was at Hadley they changed the chairs at their tri-board meeting. They all mixed up where they were sitting, and they all just shared kind of in the beginning things that they found challenging, just to get the conversation going in a public way. And it gave the schools an opportunity to say, here's what we're looking at when it comes to MCAS, here's what we're looking at in terms of our contracts, here's what budgetary challenges we're facing, but also the town shared their challenges, whether it was roads or roofs, all sorts of things that were affecting the town. And that helped them start to kind of get this snowball going to have better conversations when it came time for actual serious brass tacks budget conversations, because they've been talking all year. And so I'd asked for this to be put on the agenda in hopes that maybe we nudge this conversation earlier, or we start to have pieces of it earlier and ask the different boards in town to maybe do something like what Hadley's doing.
So I think in the last few years, and I'll be honest that I don't 100% know
Saying it was the best.
all they do.
Yes, those animals.
But the town doesn't have people present to them anymore. Right? Am I correct? Like, we've asked to present and we've gotten to present, but I don't feel like it becomes a big discussion with everybody.
So now that Steve is the town administrator?
Yep.
Or town manager?
Manager.
Manager, they present to him. And then him and Jill present to the select board.
And I don't think we can compel anyone, but if Brian does his thing, maybe Steve would want to do it for a whole group, just to kind of increase that communication.
So just a question. So it was Amherst or it was Hadley?
It was Amherst.
It was Amherst. So who is at those meetings? Just like this is not entirely, because Amherst has like a slightly different organization of government, plus it's a regional district. So who attends these group
I
meetings?
remember talking about the finance committee, select board members, and the school committee.
So it's basically a tribal.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. I didn't realize they have a select board. I thought that they ran differently.
They
That's
didn't really introduce themselves, and it was like Hadley was sitting here, Amherst. I
That's
don't know.
town council,
okay.
yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I was just
Do
curious.
they have a mayor?
No,
No, that they have a different structure.
They have like a representative town meeting.
they voted out.
They used to have a.
No, they voted out town meeting.
Now it's a town council.
Right.
Yeah, it is different. Yeah, it doesn't necessarily matter, but I was just curious because
So I saw
entirely.
an agenda item for a tri-board meeting, or like a pick a date, and has there been a date announced? Okay. Is this something we want to try to, like, ask for them to put it on the agenda there?
Ask for what to be put on an agenda.
To see if we can present to them earlier? Is that where you're getting?
Yeah.
Because this has us presenting January, February.
Maybe it'd be good to kind of have.
Well, no. This doesn't have us presenting January, February. This has us presenting
After February 24th.
after February
Okay.
24th.
Okay.
April 7th.
What we could do is ask in this late November, December meeting if they'd be willing to have a conversation about the timeline and when different information gets exchanged between the groups. We could talk about what Amherst Hadley's doing, Amherst
Well,
Town.
we could start there, because we met today all day. We're not going to be ready for December 1st.
And then maybe we could ask for something in
Right.
January. What would be doable, just so that we have.
I need some more time with him and Carol. We haven't even spoken today. We met with, so let me just back up a minute. So we've already had principals submit their budget for FY '27. We met with them today. We went through each line item. We made recommendations. We reduced, we increased, we did whatever we needed to do. I still have to meet with 1, 2, 3 other administrators or directors. So that will probably be early next week. And then we have to go through the budget. And then honestly, going through the budget is I have to go through and eliminate all those positions that we talked about of the restructuring. I think we could be okay for January. I'm a little nervous to say January only because I hope it's that easy.
Well, would we
So-
know by the December meeting that we're maybe adding? So I don't want to suggest that we can't do it, but.
Yeah. I don't know. When was the meeting?
They have-
We haven't, so we will do our best to tell you ASAP. I'd rather tell you sooner because then we want to present, we can present, but
Can I go a step like, let's say we're able to present, end of January, right? What good is that information going to be? Because they're still not going to be ready to decide until Jill gets numbers.
I think just starting the conversation earlier is more transparent. It tends to go more positively, so there's no surprises. And also gives everyone a chance to prep and plan for different scenarios if everyone knows what's coming.
Okay.
But I also think like talking about a timeline gives us a chance to say like, could we do this more regularly? Could we start having meetings like this so that there are no surprises throughout a year?
Okay. I have a feeling the pushback is gonna be, you could present, but we're still not gonna know anything to tell you.
I think that's okay.
Like,
Yeah, so we may, and I talked to Jake about this a little bit too, because that's where I was too. Yeah, we can present, but we may not be able to present the scenarios until we know what the town gives us. So there may be some last minute,
yeah, our presentation would be what level service would looks like, which is what it is. I mean, I guess we might know if there's graduating special ed kids that we're gonna save some money on, or,
So may I ask a silly question, maybe, Mark?
Sure. Can I give you a silly answer?
If we got 33 million last year with the override of 1.6, does that mean we automatically we can go no lower than 33?
I think the town, they made this clear, they could decide whether or not to give us that override money.
I think your level service number includes that number, but the town has the flexibility to not provide.
Right, but just throwing out a number. So if it was 33 million, and that includes the 1.6, is it people's understanding that you would think that we would get at least that?
Hopefully.
That would be level funded,
No,
that would be level funded if we got just that.
right,
Well,
plus,
that would not be level funded, right? That would be, oh no, that would be level funded, not level
No,
service. I'm
you're
sorry.
right.
right, and we would, okay, I'm just,
Well, I know,
I think that's a good conversation to have publicly with folks.
right.
Yeah.
It's a good-
Because I'd be very curious to see what parents and people that voted for the override to respond if we weren't getting the 1.6 million in year 2.
The question I'd love to be able to ask is like, what is like when Steve does his planning, how much does he figure into his calculation when he's trying to budget next, the following year? Is he figuring for 2.5, 2, like what is the guiding increase percentage? Because if we knew that, we should copy that and do it similarly.
I think that's a great question for us to ask at the tri-board.
And I think another thing that came out of the presentation last year is we realized that their inflation rate percentage, we were well below the town's. The town was getting like 2 point something, and we were getting like 1.3. So what, if they're gonna get that, why not the schools get it so we're all equal? Another conversation piece.
That kind of makes me think about that formula. Like, have we ever revisited that formula? And is it working?
And I will say that's been brought up in some of the conversations we've had from other boards too, that maybe it's time we reassess
You mean
that.
the 70/30?
Well, as the tri-board date gets set, I will ask for these agenda items to be on the agenda.
And I just want to make sure the goal of talking about a formula is like, I think the full town should sink or swim together. Like as soon as the schools start having trouble hitting their budget numbers, so should every other department, so that everyone's needs are kind of tied together. It shouldn't get one place harder than the other. Obviously, the devil's in the details of that comment, but that's the goal behind it.
Yeah, that's a great goal.
So what would be the goal, like, for the frequency of tri-board meetings?
I don't know. I would listen to you guys. You've been doing it longer than me.
I'm assuming that it's to build understanding.
I feel like quarterly would be good.
Often.
Right now, they just happen when they need to. And I think quarterly would
I
really
feel
help
like
it.
at some point we had that discussion of doing right when we started talking about that whole free cash policy. That was, we discussed that like in September, I thought. That
Yeah,
was in early-
and then they kind of stopped.
Yeah, they did.
So what about like quarterly and then come budget time, February, it might increase depending on what's going on. Especially as things are tighter.
I do think that quarterly, is not enough when we're starting these conversations. That,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
I mean, if we're going to talk about changing the 70/30.
Yeah, yeah.
It's not going to cut it.
It's almost like it's going to have to be every month or every other month because there's so much to talk about. And I don't want to make meetings for, just to have meetings, but could we at least get a plan and make a list of things that we can check off the list?
Right. That was like the other piece was that like, we can't tackle everything because that's just too, it's just not going to happen, I think. But if we have a few key things that we are looking to gain an understanding on it.
I'm guessing, I'm thinking that when we going into budget season, if we're going to be meeting regularly and we're backing up where we're starting to meet in like September, October, November, or whatever, then I guess the question I'm thinking is like, what would be the most important thing that we need them to know in September? October, November, what are the important, when is FTE coming? Is that October?
I'm sorry, when does FTE come in?
Yeah, is that October?
That's when it gets reported, and then it gets trued up by DESI, but October 1st is the same deadline.
So like, what kind of information do we need to be providing that's budget related at particular times in the year that will help us or help ease the conversation as we go into budget season? If we're going to be meeting regularly, then like, what's the priority? What should be the priority? If we're going to meet with them in September, what should be the priority in October? And kind of like molding the picture that we need to be able to get the funding that we need.
Because until we really talk about the 70-30 split or the percentage between all departments, what's really going to change?
So the three things I'm going to ask to go in the tri-board meeting is to see if the school committee can present in January, to figure out what our guiding increase percentage is going to be, where Steve is going to go and we're going to look at, and to see if we can start to address the formula for town funding. Is this a true statement? Okay, so at that point, then I'm going to withdraw my motion. Does that have to be seconded?
I don't know what's happening right now.
I'll second it just in case.
Yeah, if it doesn't, also just withdraw.
I think you get a fifth draw.
Okay. You have more?
No, I think you can basically change your motion, but now.
We don't have anything to vote on, so.
Yeah.
All right, that felt organically wrong, but policy right. Okay. So we looked at the Ed Communication Committee, curriculum and instruction's not there, personnel and policy.
Yeah, we met.
Then why does it say TBD? He's throwing you under the bus. I thought he's throwing Mark.
I had no idea when he makes those meetings.
Well, we're gonna need to work on that because we need to grind him, but go ahead.
Maybe we should go back up to the communication.
Somebody want to say something?
For the most part, we just schedule the time when we're going to have conversations about the one item in December and one item in January. So Sean, you can talk about those items.
Now, Aaron, we have a competency determination graduation requirement, both report due to DESI by the end of December. So we'll talk about that before we submit it, talk to the committee as well. And then we want to preview updates on the strategic plan with the curriculum instruction subcommittee in January, because the first two goals are explicitly connected to both curriculum and instruction.
I just want to point out that we had a really easy solution to the competency, and then DESI decided they needed to make it complicated. Because I think we just had attached it to like 10th grade.
Oh, yeah. No.
Right. So now there's coursework that they have to take in order to.
Oh, so I remember hearing something about them turning it into high stakes, even though high stakes.
Yes.
Well, you have to have, for example, you have to have algebra. So in some school districts, you can take algebra at Amherst. You could take algebra in 8th grade, so you wouldn't have the algebra credit in 9th grade. And so then what do? Take algebra over again? I think you said algebra and geometry were two maths that you have to take. And so if you didn't take those in between ninth and 12th grade, or some students are on, other paths when it comes to math, some kids on IEPs, can you offer other other math classes other than, that kind of sets it up where a student on IEP has to take an algebra class. So I don't know what the process was for making that decision at DESI, but it seems like right now we're stuck with it. So that's something we'll be discussing.
I can't wait.
Yes, we were like, oh, we got this, we already did it, and then we went to the form and we're like, oh, they changed it all. Exactly like you said, so I do have a couple of samples, so.
And I think our criteria is 4 years of math.
Yeah.
And they said 2 years of math, but it has to be algebra and geometry.
Ours was 4 of anything.
Right. But it's,
But most kids are going to be at like what, trig or free cal or
right.
something.
You can take AB calculus, but not get credit for algebra. Like, come on. We'll see what happens.
So it's only, like, it had to have been taken between grades 9 and 12. That's dumb.
Yeah.
So if you face out of it,
Right.
you got to back up and take it.
I'm sure they're going to get some feedback
Yeah.
about that.
And we're not alone in that, so we'll submit what we do and
This
tell
is
us
starting
wrong.
as of when?
It's due December 31st,
For which grades, though?
next year.
Okay.
Well, the 28th, I think, is the
Class is
first.
28.
Yeah, is the first.
That this will apply to.
Nobody needs MCAS anymore, so this is the, how do we say?
Don't you worry, when when the commissioner comes to visit us on December 19th at 1:30,
Yep.
I'll settle it with him.
Okay.
December 19th at 1:30, right before vacation.
No, I don't think they think about I was talking to Jake that it decentivizes middle schools from like offering
Yeah, why
fast classes
offer
like algebra classes, because this
algebra
is
in
like,
middle school?
why offer algebra in middle school to students who are ready and willing to take it, but they'd have to take it over again in high school.
Well, yeah, it's a can of worms to offer high school and particularly graduation credits in middle school.
Yeah.
That's,
Correct.
That's
That's
different.
tricky.
That's different than just saying you can we have 8 honors and test out of Algebra 1, but to say that our 8th grade math is equivalent to or essentially the same as an Algebra 1 class that counts for credits, that counts toward graduation,
All right.
that's,
Which
we're
means
going
that-
to agonize ourselves.
You're going to be decentivized from offering the high level math in middle school.
So we're lowering expectations.
There you go.
One step.
By making high stakes. Okay, so I'm assuming we're going to hear about this again.
Yes.
Yeah.
Before we move on, can I just say that a motion cannot be withdrawn unless the chair approves of it? But since I made the motion, withdraw it, I've approved
You
it.
de facto approved it.
And you've got your book.
I know, right?
There's nothing you can do about it.
Okay, personnel and policy, is 12:08 a real meeting? Real next one?
I guess so.
Okay. Property and transportation is 127. Man, those people are slackers. Finance and budget, I'm one of those people. Finance and budget was on my birthday. Have fun. Healthy and safer schools
Next month, I think.
Yeah. Yes.
and collaborative.
We didn't meet.
Did you all see them at the conference? Wasn't there a collaborative something there? Did you go to that?
It was very early in the morning.
Okay, so no. Oh, you are?
I saw them. I saw Albert, I saw Sapphire, I saw Tom,
I'm sorry, Casey.
Casey.
Mika, and next meeting, will you talk about the delegate assembly?
And I
Yeah.
Angela.
Okay. I forgot about that.
I mean, the biggest thing that came out of there, I think, was, okay, yes, I'll talk about it.
Okay, perfect. All right, so pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 38, Section 21, Part 3, we're going to enter into executive session to discuss strategy with respects to collective bargainings with A, B, C, D, and E, as conducting said business in open session will have a detrimental effect on the school committee's bargaining position. and pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 38, Part 3, to discuss strategy sessions in preparation for negotiations with non-union personnel, or to conduct collective bargaining sessions or contract negotiations with non-union personnel, the superintendent. We will return to open session. Jake, do you consent?
We will return.
We will.
I consent.
Amy? Verity?
Yes.
And I'm yes. So that's 6:51. We're going into executive session. Lou, I'm not expecting you to stay. I feel like that's annoying.
Yeah, that was the question. Like, just, we're done with the agenda, why are we coming back to open session?
Well, but it locks, it's definitely a sock shake. They're just exciting. We may have to go around.